All right, Kev, here we go. Bottom left-hand corner of Whirlwind, the red Protoss player from China. It's IG MacSed.
Solid zoom.
Very Adebisi-esque.
Funkadelic. It's a new thing, man. Why don't you're not a believer in Funkadelic?
I'm not, man. My heart belongs to Adebisi.
My heart belongs to Adebisi too. Mike is, whenever someone is a pioneer in, Adebisi created jobs.
To me, Funkadelic is just a wannabe Adebisi.
In my opinion, Adebisi deserves some sort of a medal of honor because Adebisi has literally created jobs in the Western world.
He's like Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Yeah,
he's like FDR, man. He pulled the StarCraft observer community out of the Great Depression and into the limelight.
Adebisi, the unsung hero of these sports.
He's in fact, if he wasn't Canadian, he could probably run for president here and become our next Barack Obama.
We will see. I'm very excited for this PvP series, man. I always enjoy casting PvP. And I'm curious to see if MacSed switched things up a little bit. If you guys haven't seen much of MacSed in WCS Season 2, he plays PvP almost as safe as you can possibly get. It really goes out early on with like early aggression or crazy gateway builds. He's just a very safe player who gets his expand when he thinks it's the right moment to do so, and then he likes to get another robo, and then either he makes a 2-base attack or he goes up to 3 bases and he maxes out on Colossus. It's very Wings of Liberty style like, and I like that style a lot in Wings, but with the Tempest being this good these days, man, it pains me to say that I really do not believe too much anymore in double robo pushes. We saw that the other day when Jim played against Hero. I thought Jim played really good, but Hero just read the situation perfectly on Belshire. And he's like, you know what, if I somehow can find the time to get 1 or 2 Tempests out, which I will be able to, because hey, you're double roboing, I will survive. And Hero did that. Hero, of course, one of the best mirror players in the world. Just always loses to Oz for some reason, but, Oz is very good too.
The Wizard of Oz? Not too much craziness happening just yet. HwangSin we see going to open up with the Zealot. Looks like MacSed might skip that Zealot.
A little bit of a probe bar going on.
Second gateway going down for MacSed, so we might see a 3-stalker opening.
Yep, that is very possible, and also just very safe. 3 stocks into Mothership Core, then you can still drop the Nexus. It's a little more safe than the one gate Nexus builds, but I think even those are relatively safe. If you go at it in a certain way, of course you're going to need the sentries and know what you have to do to be safe in all scenarios. I think the best way to punish that, by the way, is still like a very quick Phoenix, then forcing a photon overcharge or killing the Mothership Core and then busting with gateway units.
Probe Scout gets denied.
Really quick Twilight counter here for HwangSin. This is not a very good Blink Stalker map. I would even say the opposite is true. Of course, when people go for very quick expanse, there is always something possible with Blink Stalkers, because if you can time it right and you don't fight against Photon Overcharge and there are not too many Immortals out, you might make something happen. But against most builds, these straight up Blink Stalker attacks on a map like this, where you have to go via the front, are just not very good. So I'd be surprised if we see Blink. I think we're going to see DTs.
He's got the gas for it. He's got the minerals for it. He's got the tech structure for it.
He's got the probe in position for it.
And bloop.
He's got the Doctrine. Taking a look at MacSed's main base. Ooh, MacSed is getting a 3rd gateway. That's a little unlike MacSed, eh?
Well, 3-gate pressure is something that
man, this probe has been going completely undetected so far. This probe can definitely get a sneaky pylon up somewhere around here, maybe around here. If he then wipes in a couple of Dark Templars while all of MacSed's units are on the other side of the map, it doesn't really matter if MacSed runs up this ramp, which might not even be possible, but if he somehow gets up, even if he starts killing probes, Photon Overcharge will keep this base safe, and if he doesn't have anything against Dark Templars on the other side of the map, he is going to lose. You have no idea how many times I've been like, wow, my gateway aggression is going really well, and then it's like, why does he have so little? And the moment you ask yourself, Ben, why he has so little,
that's when you hear the swipe.
Yep.
Well, Robo's going to go down now for MacSed, so...
It seems like MacSed is a little better than me, which I'm very happy to see. He didn't really commit. He saw it, like, there's not.
And these stalkers are going to spot that probe. And
that's
that could
so
be
big. That is so big.
Yep, that is going to be enough to prompt some Nope, not going to prompt any investigation.
He still wants to be safe. Rather be safe than sorry. You don't know how quick, how greedy of a build this was. There are some super quick, greedy Dark Templar builds where they could have been at your base already. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
I think the stalker saw the DTs and he's going to just come right over here to the ramp.
Yeah, he's just going to stand at the ramp. He will definitely keep his eye on. He's going to drop a force field. MacSed knows without knowing. That's beautiful. Perfect play by MacSed.
So the best HwangSin can do now is to delay this expansion, which of course he's going to be able to do.
No, I am not even too sure about that. Observer is... I think he will be able to keep this Nexus alive, man.
I think you're right. Looks like HwangSin unwilling to commit to killing that Nexus.
Oh, that also means he's probably going to be able to get both Dark Templars, at least one of them. I think this... force field.
So sick.
MacSed. That's very, very well done.
Beautifully done. And this is what you call a bad situation to be in if you are HwangSin. MacSed's going to follow this up with an Immortal.
Yeah. You know, this has been beautiful so far for MacSed, but as you mentioned as well the other day, Ben, when we casted the PvP, the Dark Templar openings are not as big of an investment anymore as they used to be back in the days. It's not really like you have to win the game with your DTs immediately, because those DTs represent so much map control, even when they're not even there. Just the threat of them being there represent map control, that he will be able to get his own Nexus up and running. He even had a small worker lead. So it is definitely not all bad news, but you know, the tech is a little more developed. Here we do see the Robo Bay going down, no surprise there. It's good to see that MacSed still believes. So MacSed finds himself in a good position, but you know, it's still something that HwangSin can work with.
Yeah.
Warp Prism as well, that's interesting. Oh, okay. It's HwangSin's Warp Prism. I was like, why is MacSed getting a Prism? Of course, HwangSin getting Warp Prism makes a lot of sense. He will be able to get Dark Templars in the main base. If MacSed is out on the map and he suddenly finds a couple of DTs in his main, then it gets, you know, there's just no other way to put it, but dicey.
Hashtag it's getting dicey in here. Right now.
You think it's getting dicey in Toronto already?
I think it just stays dicey in Toronto. It's certainly getting dicey for the folks that haven't bought their tickets yet. I'll tell you that.
Oh, that's looking dicey. If you want to go to Toronto and you don't have tickets yet, you're going to find yourself in a real dicey position because it's going pretty fast.
And we had a meeting today about seating for Toronto. I was noticing that based on ticket sales, there's only a couple seats left. So if you want those tickets, I think it's wcstoronto.eventbrite.com.
We'll be able to bring up a lower third later, and you guys can find the direct URL once more. I'm so stoked for Toronto, Ben. You cannot imagine how happy I am to go back to Toronto. It's gonna be one hell of an event. I'm gonna make sure to iron my shirts as well before I go to Toronto.
All right, man. Next level.
Well, I mean, the laundry mat will do it. Still counts, right? Well, players just macroing up. We saw a couple of additional gateways going down for HwangSin. Of course, the big story for Toronto as well is that we're still going to have 2 Canadian players in action next week. Ben Huck will play in that group with Tasia, Top, and Major. Definitely a very difficult group for Huck, but you know, Huck in shape is definitely capable of making it out of that group.
He's been winning a lot of games to get this far, Kev, and if he can somehow make it through that group, it's a tough group, but I think it's a group that he could pass, and I think the Canadian fans would love nothing more than to be able to cheer for Huck on their home turf.
Okay, keeping a close eye on this game. We can see Charge is about to finish up for HwangSin. He's getting a couple of DTs as well. Distance over here. Where's that Prism, by the way? Did that Prism ever come in action? He has it over here. Kind of funny that he watched in his Dark Templar so far away from the Prism. If he's going to attack, man, I do not like that. I really do not like attacking in a straight-up engagement against Colossus. When there is Photon Overcharge, you're attacking into a ramp. I don't see how he's getting close to those Colossus unless, you know, he busts out something crazy. Maybe a very good time war. From who?
From MacSed.
It's probably in the main. Yeah, it's in the main over here. No, just in case. I think he knows that Warp Prism is... this is really quite cute, but I think we're going to see Photon Overcharge in the main. If MacSed positions his Colossus properly, he should really survive without too many issues. Wipe in a few Zealots, let those Zealots absorb the shots. I love how he has cannons already, by the way, in his main. These Zealots are going to try to kill these cannons. One will go down, the others won't go down. And HwangSin, if I were you, I would just take your losses. I know that you were gearing up for this attack. I know you wanted this attack to work, but, you know, Ben, it's like running into a concrete wall with lasers.
You would need some very strong lasers to get through a concrete wall.
No. Like the concrete wall is shooting lasers at you.
That's even a dicier situation.
Yes, and I'm glad that HwangSin is realizing that as well. He's like, man, how can I defeat a concrete wall with my bare hands and they're shooting lasers at me at the same time? That just doesn't really work. So HwangSin is going to go back. He's going to go up to 3 bases. He's dropping a Stargate, and that's definitely the right direction you want to head into. It's still no double robo, though, from MacSed. So that's good to see. And MacSed is going to go up to 3 bases. He's like, man, I was way ahead of the meta with these cannons in my main. The Warp Prism didn't do anything. And you know, attacking near the third base, that might be a little better for HwangSin than attacking into the natural. Actually quite a bit better. But I still don't like it, because I just don't see how he's going to get this army on top of these Colossus. This is still the phase in the game, man, where Colossus are just the absolute best thing that you can potentially have. There's no Tempest. Sure, there are some charge loads here and there, but in this situation, I say Colossus all day, every day.
Yeah.
Oh. I got actually MacSed being really annoying to HwangSin with a couple of Dark Templars on the other side of the map.
Missed it. He's already killed 5 probes, though. And that's a little bit frustrating. And of course, MacSed's probably giggling to himself, "Ha, taste your own medicine." And but still, you know, we haven't seen a major engagement. We haven't seen anybody committing to a big fight.
The good thing that it did do, though, is to slow HwangSin down even more. And by slowing him down, you can see he wants the fleet beacon to go down. It will go down, but that's all a little bit later. MacSed, you know, your Colossus are fantastic. Eventually you do want to attack, because if you're just going to sit on your 200 supply while we had another Dark Templar being annoying, did he kill something? Nope, he did not. Second target on the way. Now, in my opinion, the clock is starting to tick a little bit. MacSed is scouting, though. We can see, was that a hallucinated Phoenix against a hallucinated Phoenix?
So it's a fight for the ages.
Yeah, definitely.
Locked in an eternal struggle.
HwangSin has a Mothership Core over here, so he might be able to just kill this Nexus and recall home. That would be a very cute idea. Be careful though, HwangSin.
Unwilling to commit, as MacSed does manage to get back in plenty of time.
But he's doing it right, man. He's buying time, he's buying time, he's buying time. Taking a look at the work count right now, it's 62 against 62. That fleet beacon is finishing up. Come on, Tempest. It's about time that your first Tempest start hashtag rolling out. Or airborne.
I think if a Tempest had wheels, it would definitely roll out. It has to roll out of the hangar, right?
MacSed is, I think, starting to get aware of, like, you know, I love my Colossus. They are very good in this phase of the game, but if I'm starting to face Tempest, things are starting to get a little dicey for me. Once more, HwangSin is going to try to build more time for himself. There are 2 cannons over here, but that's all there is. So
might not be enough.
MacSed might have to warp in a few units. He could warp in a DT or 2, though.
That is exactly what he's going to do. I love this. Defense with DTs is one of the easiest ways to shut down aggression in these Zealots.
But, you know, still, these Zealots are paying for themselves, not because of the damage they're doing, but this army is sitting over here in the middle of the map. 2 Tempests are in production. 1 is already on the field. If the Tempest count goes up to 4, I'm starting to love the position of HwangSin.
At 2 or 3, I'm suddenly thinking that MacSed can no longer attack HwangSin. We saw it in our PvP series on Monday.
Yep, Hero versus Jim, Belshire Vestige. All over again.
And, history repeats itself as the Tempests are now in play, and HwangSin's position is suddenly a phenomenal one.
Because above all, you can also drop a Time Warp on top of this army, which will make it impossible for MacSed to get really close. And the Colossus, you know, they might still be able to deal a crazy amount of damage before they die. But if a Time Warp goes down as well, HwangSin can just kind of dance back and forth and let those Tempests chip away at these Colossus. And then chipping away is not really chipping away, it's more like just like a wrecking ball, man.
Like a wrecking ball. Doesn't work quite as well on a pylon, surprisingly enough.
It's okay. It's also giving MacSed the idea of like, man, you've got Tempest. Now I know. You know what's really good against Tempest?
I don't know.
You know, I was actually just wondering what would be really good. Often you see just like a mix of Archons and Tempest. What I in general like when an opponent makes like a few air units, but they don't really scout your base. And if you take a look right now, we can see that HwangSin is not very actively scouting MacSed's base. If you suddenly surprise him with like 20 Phoenix, that could be very good. But 20 Phoenix is
going to be hard to suddenly surprise him with that number of units when there's not a single Stargate out on the map now for MacSed. I do like the fact that MacSed's beginning to get aggressive, sending Zealots and DTs and harassment groups in to try and find favorable engagements. But you just can't attack into these Tempests.
Archons are very good, and at the same time we can see this Warp Prism being active right now once more. Are these DTs still here? No, they are not here. Like, Archons can be very good, man, because it takes crazy long for HwangSin with the units that he has to kill Archons. He just does not have a very deadly army against Archons. So he has a lot of Zealots, he has a few Stalkers, Immortals, few Archons on his own. Other than those own Archons, he just doesn't really have that much that's, you know, actually capable of dealing with Archons. But still, as I said, Time Warps, it's going to be really hard to get those Archons in position below those Tempests.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Archons.
It's a ton of Archons, but they're just...
Not every day you see a PvP with it.
Can an Archon even catch a Tempest? I mean, honestly, the range that a Tempest has, just kite the Archons forever.
Tempests are really slow.
Sure, but I mean, there's like ridges and hills and everything on
But
this
the thing
map.
is, like, if your Tempest is gonna have to go so defensive, it takes so long for a Tempest to kill an Archon that if an Archon is like pushing the Tempest away and the rest of your army can just engage on bases, you know, the Tempest might eventually be able to clean it up, but not before losing 2 bases and very valuable infrastructure. So that's what's all gonna boil down to. No idea why there's a high tempo in there. Perhaps trying to feed. Oh, sorry. I do have an idea. Perhaps was hoping to find a mothership core out of position and drop a feedback on the mothership core. Time warps are very important. While we do see HwangSin forcing a cancel on this fort base. When I was talking with Johan, every single time he emphasizes how extremely important time warp is in these PvP battles.
Yeah.
And whenever someone doesn't bring out his mothership core, Johan gets very mad. I'm sure Johan is not watching this cast right now, though, as he's laying on the beach in Bangkok.
Sick life?
Sick life for Johan. Probably eating a burger right now as we speak.
Or a Krispy Kreme.
That's what he does. 7 Tempest, Ben. That's a hell of a lot of Tempest.
They're going to be around for longer than these Colossi, I fear.
How did he see? Oh, wow, he's an observer there. That's so cute. We have the first little bit of an engagement, but we see a recall immediately.
Insta recall. These Zealots are going to do, I guess, not too much. There's still a DT doing work.
There's a lot of DTs in this army for MacSed as well. Taking a look at the amount of observers HwangSin has. He has one with his army, one over here. HwangSin is doing a fantastic job with his prism. He's just keeping his prism active. He's warping in more and more and more. And it's kind of spiraling out of control a little bit, up to the point where MacSed might take a bad fight.
He's going to try to force the issue. Here comes that army. There's a ton of Archons in it. The Colossi are just unable to
connect.
Really engage at all. This Nexus might end up falling. That would be terrible news.
Here comes the Observer. So the DDs are revealed once more. Now that there's an Observer for MacSed too. So I guess with his Observer, he's going to try to snipe the other Observer. So his DT is going to defend again. 5 more Archons in production. These Archons are just going to form, basically form a wall. You know, form a wall. Yeah. I guess it works. They're going to form a wall against the other Archons to make sure that the Archons can connect with the Tempest. And then MacSed is like, well, dang it. I have 6 Colossus over here, which is, 36 supply. That's not going to be able to do a whole lot. Once more, we see time warps going down either side. Those were the time warps of MacSed, not the time warps he was looking for. Where's the mothership for?
Oh, Tempest coming forward a little bit too far, and these Archons are able to connect. Will it make a difference in this fight? Oh, man, suddenly things are getting very bad for HwangSin. His Tempest have just been disintegrated. Only a single Tempest remains. What in the world happened?
I wish I knew. HwangSin just being too far out of position, not having his mothership core with him right now. He does have it here. If he would have just dropped a time warp or two, that should have never happened. All of his Tempest being so extremely exposed.
Yep, suddenly it's 126 supply to 147. The Tempest count has been reset. There is a single Tempest on the map right now for HwangSin, and it is very low on health. He's not even building any new ones. I think all of a sudden MacSed has made this game very difficult for HwangSin.
True. Because right now it's like, okay, there are 2 Colossus. How many Tempests do I want to build against that, It is not the 36 supply anymore that's sitting there, which may not actually play for himself. Suddenly we have a very different game right now, where time warps are going to be crucial, so HwangSin is going to have to be more on top of his mothership core.
Basically Archon Immortal against...
Archon Immortal. A little bit of everything. These 2 Colossus definitely are important in a fight. They still represent a lot of DPS. There's this single Tempest. HwangSin is not, that rich that he's like, oh, let's make 4 or 5 Tempests again. Right now, you definitely don't want to have 6, 7 Tempests because the DPS is just not big enough to deal with Archons or Immortals. What a weird fight it was. And why?
Yeah, I guess HwangSin just had his attention diverted.
Yep.
While he was trying to be
he was harassing all over the place. He's going to find himself in a very similar position as before. This time he does drop the time warp, though.
Yep. Stalker's going to blink forward. They're not going to be the best at absorbing damage from all these Immortals, though. Colossi, most importantly, though, are very well protected in the back.
Here come the Immortals for HwangSin. I don't think these Immortals are going to die real soon. I love the position of the Colossus, though. They're still safe. And actually, most of the Archons are down.
Wow. These Colossi are the heroes. That one Tempest will finally kill one of them. But not before MacSed cleans up most of HwangSin's army. Last Tempest is going to go down. Still, that was a pretty even trade.
Fight. Super even.
90 supply to 85 is the state of things now. This single Colossus is still in it.
Wow. that fight was like almost as even as it could have possibly been. I really love the position of those Colossus from MacSed, because if those Immortals would have been able to get in range a little bit easier and he would have lost those Colossus quicker, then I really think the fight would have gone in favor of HwangSin. Now, Ben, the good news for MacSed is that he has a fourth base, something that HwangSin does not have. And if you take a look at Natural, even the Natural is dry. The main, of course, has been dry for a little while. So I feel slowly but steady this is going into MacSed's favor once more. He's down 10 army supply.
There's a lot of Zealots out on the map for HwangSin, which can be difficult to deal with, certainly with just a single Colossus.
He has an upgrade advantage as well. That's something that we shouldn't forget. 3-2 against 3-1.
Man, these Stalkers have been sniping observers like it's their job, man. And the only observer HwangSin has on the map is
over here
right
on
there.
Near the third base. So he knows he's going to have to bring it because he knows there's always a threat of darks.
He's also building new ones, so that's good news.
But now suddenly there are Colossus, and you know this is Colossus. You don't want to take this fight, HwangSin. I guess he feels like he just has to make something happen, Ben. But it's going to be so hard for him to attack into these Colossus with so many Zealots. If there's one thing that Colossus are extremely good against in PvP, it's Zealots.
That fight's not going to work well for HwangSin. He's going to try to wrap around and get a flank with his Zealots, but man, everything just dying way too fast. And HwangSin's going to tap out. Good game gets called.